Centuries ago, the Malian Emperor Mansa Musa sent his best and brightest scholars, explorers, warriors, and artisans across the great western ocean to discover new lands. They were never heard from again. Until now. Join creative director Tanya DePass as Invicta, the Hyanol Blade Keeper, DeejayKnight as Ikemba, the Musalian Biopriest, Michael Sinclair II as Ilay, the Misajai Lightbringer, Christina Ariel as Sila 919, the Montsagene Biopriest, and Eugenio Vargas as the Storyteller, as they travel the stars, defend their homes, and treat everyone they meet luxuriously. Welcome to the Motherlands.
Happy Sunday, happy time zone. Welcome back to episode 9 of Into the Motherlands. My name is Eugenio. You might know me as DM Jazzy Hands, and I am your storyteller for this evening. And I'm so happy to have you all back. I can't believe it's already been 9 episodes. That means including this one, we got 4 left and lots to do. But I have already delayed too long in introducing you to these fantastic 4 humans that are going to be playing with us tonight. So let's go ahead and go around and do player intros. Let's start tonight with Christina, if we can. Let us know who you are and who you're playing tonight.
Hi, my name is Christina Ariel, and I'm going to be playing Captain Sila 919. She's a Mansagene Biopriest android lady, and she's really growing as a not person. But it's really fantastic, and this journey is really great. So I'm really looking forward to finding out what happens on the moon. It's not made of cheese.
It's not. And well, jury's still out on whether it's haunted, which I saw was a very popular chat opinion.
Oh, and Sila's mechanics change with their hair. You've been forewarned.
I can't wait to find out more about it. I mean, make up more about it. I mean, moving on. Let's go ahead and go clockwise around the overlay, which means we're going down to Michael.
Hello, folks. It's Michael Sinclair II. My pronouns are he, him. I play Ilay. Their pronouns are they, them. Yeah, just super excited to get started today and see some people's backstories, because that's always great.
Spoilers. Moving on. No, not at all. I'm excited about it too, and so should everyone be. Continuing around clockwise, DJ, hello.
Hi, I'm DeejayKnight. My pronouns are he, him, full-time space and sci-fi streamer. I play Ikemba, a Musalian Biopriest, whose pronouns are he, him as well. He's very sad that the moon is not made of cheese, because give me more cheese. That's pretty much it.
Oh, is he ready for more?
Of course. Ikemba's always down for cheese. Hence cheese sweats. Like, you don't get the cheese sweats if you don't like cheese.
Well, that's fair. I love it. All right, we'll see what we can do to find you some more cheese before we're done today. Last but most certainly not least, Tanya.
Hello, I'm your Hyanol Blade Keeper, who's always a little grumpy and, paints her nails with her friends on occasion, Invicta. And my actual name is Tanya, Cyphertier. And both oh my God, I said Sila. Invicta's pronouns and mine are she, her. As I saw Christina and saw her name and was like, oh wait, no, that's Sila. I am not Sila. I'm Invicta.
We all a little bit sometimes want to be Sila. I mean, that hair.
I mean, I want to be Christina when I grow up.
Truly. I won't grow up. My name's Eugenio. Like I said, DM Jazzy Hands, and I am the storyteller for Into the Motherlands, and here we are. Obviously, we want to talk more about what happened last week before we jump into the action, but we can't go any further at all, of course, without thanking some of the folks who make it possible for us to be here with you all week after week. Huge thank you, first of all, to Die Hard Dice for supporting our endeavors in the Motherlands. Most of you are aware of this, but if this is your first time here, we are partnered with Die Hard Dice and have created the Musalian Skies Dice set, a gorgeous sky blue dice set. You can get them inked or uninked. The inked version have these gorgeous gold. It's a little blurry because it really wants to focus on my face. But anyway, beautiful dice, which are available for sale on the Die Hard Dice website, dieharddice.com. You should go check them out, and also all of the other awesome offerings that Die Hard Dice has for you. Second up, we want to thank Blue Microphones for stepping up all of our audio game here so that we sound as awesome as possible for you all. They have supplied the cast with microphones, and you too can stream and podcast and whatever else you need on their line of microphones by going to bluemics.com and checking out their bluemicsingular.com and checking out their full range of offerings. Third up, enormous thank you to everyone over at Cortex by Fandom. They've been incredibly supportive, helpful for us as we put together we just got a little regular Vanna down there, and I'm not mad about it. Okay, this one we got a couple. Wait, I'll get mine. As you can see, their core handbooks have been released. You can pick them up. You can pick up hard copies, digital copies, and find out what the Cortex Prime system is all about. Our system here at Motherlands is primed by Cortex as well. So thank you very, very much to those folks over there. And finally, we of course have to thank Twitch for being such a major supporter of Into the Motherlands, making it possible for us to be here. We are so very grateful. And you all know how to find Twitch because you already did. So that's all we have to say there. All right.
Can I add a
That's
thing before we stop it?
Yeah, of course you can. Go right ahead.
Somebody in the community made a Hero Forge of Ikemba, and I replied to them and was like, I need it. Hero Forge replied to them and was like, hey, look, are you interested? And then they sent me a DM with a gift card that allowed me to get this tiny Ikemba.
Oh,
I love it.
So this is the Ikemba that they made on Hero Forge, and I now have it in front of me.
So
Because
cool.
Hero Forge was like,
Amazing.
that's pretty awesome.
He's
You
amazing.
should have your Ikemba. And I was like, thank you. So I'm pretty excited about it.
That's awesome, dude. That's amazing. I love it. Thanks for
That's
sharing
what I was looking
that.
for like last week. Like Cypher was like, you all right? I was like, I'm looking for my Ikemba. Where is he?
I wondered what
And
she
he's
was
tiny,
doing.
so I was like, what on earth? Where did he go? And he was behind the.
Does he
like,
come with a little cheese
yeah.
toy, or is it sold
No,
separately?
There is no cheese wheel on this one, sadly, but there are birds on the platform, which is pretty awesome. So like
Who dat?
on the very bottom of it, there's birds.
Oh my God, look at the
Just
birds.
cute little birds.
Who
Birds.
dat you holding up, Tanya? We gonna play eventually,
It
y'all, I
me.
promise.
Is it
It me.
Invicta?
It is.
Oh, you got the Invicta one?
Nice.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Oh.
God, I love them so much.
And I love that the locks look really good.
Yes.
But
Yes.
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
they
real
got good
game.
locks.
Mhm.
My own look, y'all know it, y'all know, and if y'all have watched me do or heard me do anything else, y'all know I definitely prefer to be on this side of the proverbial DM screen, as it were, most times. But the one thing I miss from being on the other side of the table is fan art and minis, yo. Those are so cool.
To be fair, somebody made a sweet plush of Bertrand.
That's
That
true.
is all
You know
you.
what? I have
That is all
literally
you.
nothing to complain about because that plush is amazing.
It is.
So you all heard this. We need fan art of our fabulous storyteller.
No, that is not what I said.
I said it.
Not of
Do
me.
it.
That's exactly what I heard. How
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Into the Motherlands community,
Oh,
and
no.
you have the capability of doing so. Any characters that we have just so happen to have voiced by our lovely DM Jazzy Hands, Eugenio, please
Characters, yeah.
make the things. We would love to see them and post them into the Motherlands Discord. Do the things we want to see them and showcase them to everybody else. Thanks.
Y'all are the best.
Do the
I
things.
love it. This group is
Oh,
so
I'm
awesome.
Yes.
All right.
It starts
We
where it's
gotta
just
ho-
like your mustache and such. There's like no face, and it's like, but you know, because of the like facial hair. I love it. I'm here for it.
I love it. No. Well, now I feel good. What a high note to start on. But we have lots to get through tonight, as has already been teased, possibly last week, I may not remember, but definitely earlier this evening. We have some flashbacks to do tonight, on top of dealing with whatever we have discovered on the moon, which means we must move to the recap. Who's up?
I think Silas should recap. She had a lot of growth and also dodging
That's true.
asteroids.
That's true. She did a lot last week. That's not wrong.
Oh, so we had to go to the moon, but we had to travel in these big goo packs of blue, and Silo didn't like it, but everybody had to do it, and it was suctioned in. Someone drew a picture of it. It's really great, and it's Silo floating inside the goo tube, like, no. But also, before they left, Silo made sandwiches for the crew to make sure that they didn't go hungry, and smushed them inside in these little, like, protective packages, like protective Tupperware, that she kept inside so that they would have food in case they got hungry. And Ikemba was like, oh, did you cut the crust off? And she's like, what? But it was great. And Ikemba was like, it's not about the sandwiches. And it was about the sandwiches. And we are on the moon. Scylla was like, not Scylla, but Invicta said, get back inside because you could get hit by an asteroid, even though there were these things to chop up the asteroid when they came in that went hacha, 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 and like cut them in half. It's like, but if you get smushed, we can't bring you back. And then Ikemba came out to the moon too, and they had to run, and they were like, and Scylla was like, I'm gonna swim, and Ikemba's like, that's not physics. And Scylla was like, yes, it is, and then swam through space to get back inside before they were smooshed. And there was like a mysterious thing that happened at the end. Michael?
Yes. So I'm just gonna go towards the end. Gotcha. So we tracked the signal because of the communication device. Ilay was basically just shooting out radio signals out into space. At some point, they got a weird signal back. We saw that signal is on the other side of the moon. So we took another space shuttle. It's a shuttle. It's a transport pod. Right. So we took transport pod over to the other side of the moon, and I did the radar signal again, and then Invicta essentially got there was a passing by asteroid that looked like it was moving weirdly towards some sort of source, and then Invicta was able to shoot it out of the sky, and basically that alerted us where some sort of craft or something or the other was out there floating around.
Yeah. All right. Any other details that need to be added?
I just feel it's important that we need to acknowledge our legally distinct All Might / Deku crouch and then jump toward the entrance. That's all I'm saying. It's legally distinct. It is not the official
legally
one.
distinct. What does he call? Well, I shouldn't talk about it. I can't remember what he calls it. Something smash, right? It doesn't matter. This is IP
It's
stuff.
the
Never mind.
Ikemba smash! If you're gonna do it, it's got to be like legally distinct in our version of it. So
That's right. So it's not smash. It's something else that we'll come up with. Anything else? Yeah, there you go. There you go. Swoosh. All good options. Anything else from last week? I think that covered most of the important bits, but any other details anybody wants to add? Looking at you, Invicta, if there's anything else. Not that there's something in my mind, just
I'm like
checking it. No. Nothing is missed. I just want to make sure that you didn't have anything before.
I'm like, whenever the storyteller says that, I'm like, what are you?
I know, right? What have they not mentioned that's going to be narratively important in the next 20 minutes?
The signals, which is how we saw I was trying to do like a Dr. Zoidberg kind of thing. But we saw the ship like in the last second, like the shield or whatever it was gone just enough to be like, oh, that's a big ship and it's got tentacles. And then Eugenio being Eugenio, it's like, and see you next week.
I forgot about the tentacles. Thanks for the reminder.
Oh yeah. So it's quite the ship that you all sort of caught a quick glimpse of. The craft itself, I mean, it's hard to tell from where you're standing. It looked big, largely because of those tentacles behind it are really long. The sphere at the head of the ship, I don't know, is actually relatively small, which you can sort of tell even from this distance that most of the volume of the ship is in those trailing tentacles. And yes, that is where we left and where we shall head back in. You all are aware that there are at least two others aside from the one that Invicta nailed with the asteroid laser, thus making it temporarily visible. So there's at least three, including that one out there. You are aware that they are sending some sort of comm signals, but you can't make any sense of them. And that is where we begin with a comms hail from planet side, from Hathaway, which probably Ilay would be the first to notice, being at the comms station in this area, or the comms center in this irrigation station here on the moon.
So I got some sort of hail to the station. Awesome.
Yes, to you from planet side.
Oh, planet side. Gotcha.
Hello, this is Ilay here. We've got your hail. What do you need to report?
Just let me talk to them. Yes. Hello there. This is Birch, Master Steelsmith Bertrand, Grand Engineer, 3rd Class. We detected planetside that some of the asteroid lasers were taken off automatic and put into manual mode. Is everything all right? Excuse me. All right on your end, Ilay.
Yes, Grand Engineer. Everything is all right. We're investigating something at the moment. It seems that we've seen something that is slightly mysterious. We'll let you know if it's of concern shortly.
Of course. If you need any assistance, do be sure to let us know. I am glad that everyone is safe. Yes, I'm coming. I must go.
Thank you, Grand Engineer.
Oh, of course. What? Go ahead, actually. Let's have the 4 of you now. What are you all up to?
I am wondering how everyone's doing post being outside on the moon and almost getting smushed by asteroids. Sila, Ikemba, how are you?
We just can't talk about it yet. It was very traumatic.
I'm surprised more than anything, but I am fine. Thank you for asking.
Sila?
He said that the asteroid blasters were set to manual instead of automatic. So, was this intentional? Was someone trying to hit us with asteroids?
This was something that was done by Invicta. They were trying to make sure that we could possibly spot what's out there. We set it to manual mode, and Invicta was able to engage the asteroid, which then revealed the location of that mysterious object out there.
Yes, I was
I was
trying
worried
to
about the shape of my sandwich at that point. I was not paying attention.
That is fair.
There are a few, this is not the first time that alarms have gone off while y'all have been on the moon, but these are different. These are, before they were sort of like, signal tones that you all heard to indicate, incoming asteroid, lasers deploying, or like when you all arrived at one station or another. So those were, let's call them signals. These are alarms, and they are loud, klaxons, flashing lights, the whole thing, very, very loud.
Oh boy.
This is going to be fun.
I guess we should go to things that are similar to stations, possibly. I'm not quite sure how to run this outpost.
Neither am I, but we'll figure it out. Is the station where I was trying to manipulate the lasers similar at all to the Wistful Wish?
Yes, in some ways it is. In probably the most important way for Invicta and for all of you is that it's similar in that it is similarly oversized, which you all now have practice at, which is great news. It's a little different. It's a little clunkier because the lasers weren't really meant to be on manual control, right? So it's a little clunkier, but you can definitely sort of maneuver with them. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna look for a station similar to what I was doing, or if I can use the station I was at.
Yeah, you can use the one you're at for sure.
Okay, then I'm going to do that and see if I can figure out where that alarm's coming from.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming from like the central part of the room. Like it's alerting everyone, though there are readouts on most of the sort of interface screens. So Ilay, you could grab one, Invicta, you could look at one, and either of the other two of you could grab a seat somewhere and check it out.
I'll do it.
All right. So, Ikemba, you sort of head on over to the very first station that you can find, which just happens to be sort of the on moon transit sort of I don't know what, signal master sort of thing, basically where the pods run from if they aren't being run manually from inside the pod itself. But like I said, all of the screens that are in this space, in this station, are sort of alerting the same thing. And Ikemba, you look down at the screen and you can see that it is flashing alert, warning, incoming fire.
Oh, brace yourselves. There's incoming fire from this vessel.
Oh, are there shields?
That's such a good question. So let me, before I answer that really good question, Sila, what are you doing? We've got these three at various stations, at least for the moment. What are you up to?
I'm trying to find the equivalent of like the captain's space, like the bridge. Like if there's a chair, maybe. I'm very fond of sitting, and I want to be there and checking in with each person at their stations just to kind of see where we're at, while also downloading all of the information about the outpost that I can, or uploading all the information that I can about the outpost into myself.
Great. Yeah, so there isn't like a command chair. So your choices are, you could stand sort of, the station is circular. You could be in the center and sort of be in the strongest position and check in with everyone, but you wouldn't have your chair. Or you could be over at one of the stations and have a chair, but be, yeah, look at this. Look at your face.
Yeah, or you could do the thing where captains like put their hands behind their back, where it makes them look authoritative, and they're like, "Yeah, this is my post, wherever
Just
I am."
as good as a chair. That's
Yeah.
right.
That works.
I am the chair.
I am going to squat into chair as if I do have a chair, and it will not bother me because I don't have feelings in my limbs. So I am going to sit in chair position as if there is a chair, with my back straight and my legs crossed at the ankles, with my hands on imaginary handles.
And you can sort of hear, as after Silent 919 gets into this position, you can sort of hear like little joint locks like whir into place so that she holds this position effortlessly, and she's just there. I mean, for all the world, you'd just think she was sitting on a well-cloaked chair. I love it. All right. Turns out telling you all to brace was in fact wise, because we are going to hop into to see what you all are able to accomplish. But as we do, the station is rocked by a blast. There's a flash of light, and there is a bit of a shaking. And Invicta, since you're at the laser stations, you can see that one of the 3 lasers that is tied to this irrigation station has been taken offline. Let's go ahead and move to the roll screen as we begin to figure out what we're going to do, shall we?
Oh dear. While we're transitioning, or after we transition.
All right.
When you say taken offline, do we see this laser like taken out, or is it just kind of like it was pointing up and now just kind of like droops down? It's like laser offline.
Yeah, so you can see there was a big bright flash of light. The first thing that you were able to see was the alert on your screen, but you look out and you see that laser has been sort of that second thing that you described. It is definitely more, there is damage evident, but it's still there. It just droops and is unresponsive from your station at this point.
Okay. Oh boy.
All right, so let's talk about what each one of you wants to do, and then we'll sort of figure out a good order to make your tests and see who can support whom and how we can sort of narrate this out. So anyone who wants to tell me what you want to do, and then we'll go from there.
There's just a lot going on. Everybody's like, what do we do now?
I know. Well, I'm not going to say that yet because we'll see what happens. But yes, there is a lot going on.
I mean, I have an idea, but I keep talking first. So I was trying to be quiet.
That's all right. Let's hear your idea, because maybe it'll spark some stuff for the other 3 that they can help you with it.
I was going to see if I could commandeer those other 2 lasers and shoot at the ship.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, for sure. You have you can take them on manual just like you did last week or mere minutes ago, depending on whose time we're talking about. So yeah, that's sort of Invicta's plan. Do any of y'all have thoughts about things you could do to either support her or get ready for worst case scenario, or I don't know, anything else that y'all might have up? Michael, Ilay, you got something?
Yes, since Ilay is always thinking about rescue, what they're going to do is go to the transport pod, and basically get it ready to go if we need to like get out like torpedoes or photons or whatever kind of heavy artillery is coming our way. If we see it coming, I'm going to be there setting up the pod just in case something like that happens, so we can just like go to another station and then continue on. If Invicta needs to get another set of lasers, but essentially just be ready to move and have the device ready to go.
Absolutely. So Ilay heading over to the pod, getting coordinates set up to GTFO the moon. In Ikemba and Sila 919, any ideas what y'all might be up to in this moment of panic and crisis?
Panic and crisis, but not really though. Ikemba's just kind of like in the same mode, because if Ilay's prepped to get to the pod to get out of here, he's right behind because tactical. So let's get some of this handled. He's kind of looking to see if there's like a tactical panel that he can sit down in the pod. Like he can sit down there to help like handle controls.
In the pod. I got you. Yeah, so you can absolutely Ilay can sort of set up each of your seats, get them prepped and ready for, gel injection, because if y'all are going to be heading planet side as you're running, that'll be an important thing to do quickly. And Ikemba, you can get in there ready to dial in the coordinates and hit launch right away once everyone is in the seats that Ilay is preparing. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Miss Captain Sila 919 is there, surveying all she sees, downloading information as she can from the station. Anything else that we should know about, Captain?
I'm trying to come up with a plan to get everyone safely back into the pods, but I'm going to defer to them and make sure that there's nothing that I can do to assist them before I just jump in.
Aw.
So,
anybody have a request of your captain?
Maybe best to assist Invicta on engaging with the object out there. We have two working on this transportation pod. They might Invicta might need assistance just spotting what to attack next. Maybe because of your background, you might be able to help them find weak points.
Well, I guess my line of thinking was that rather than attack, is there a possible way that we could attempt to open comms before we immediately plan to open fire?
Yes, that is actually quite a brilliant thought, of course. I haven't thought about that one yet.
Is that something that you could assist me with as far as comms?
Yes. And then I will wrap up what I'm doing and head over to the comm station.
All right. So let me just check in then with Invicta. So this conversation happens between your captain and Ilay about hailing them before anything fires. Are you going to hold your fire?
I'm holding fire, but I'm like,
Okay.
but they shot us first. Didn't you feel the station shake?
Did they shoot first?
Okay, Han.
Whoa. Depends on which version you watch. All right. So, Captain Sila 919 and Ilay are going to attempt to open up a hailing frequency. Are going to try and communicate with whatever is out there, blowing up these, or not blowing up, but disabling these lasers, planet side. So, as the two of you look into getting those signals out, Ilay can already show you sort of where the signals that they caught that were flying around among those ships were, sort of what frequencies they were on, and you're able to sort of narrow down the area in which you think these ships probably are. So you can sort of broadcast like wide beam, whatever, I don't know, they say that in sci-fi shows, to sort of the general area that you think these ships are likely in. What would you like the message to say? Or what type of hail would you like it to be? Or you all tell me.
I think the hail is going to be Vessel, this is a group with Torch. We're trying to see what your objective is here on this Hathorian moon. We were just trying to figure out what was out there, if it was enemy or not. We were uncertain what your focus was. So the shot out over to the asteroid was just to get an understanding. And then I'll just say, I don't know how they communicate, so I will just say over and end it
I
there.
love it. I love it. Anything Silo wants to add before the transmission is cut short?
I'll take over from here. This is Captain Silo 919, and it appears that you have shot at us, and we would like to give you the opportunity to rescind said shot, or else it will be taken as a sign of hostility. I would ask that you clarify now what your intentions are. Thank you.
So those two messages go off into into near space, and after a bit, Ilay, you can see on the screens, and Silent 919, you know that you can see this as well, that the transmissions reached something, and were received, and you get a transmission back. And this is the first time that a transmission has been sent from these ships, whatever they are, to the station. And it is nonsense. It is just gobbledygook code and characters, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't even really look like a form of communication. It is so, nonsense. Yes.
If it's code, then it absolutely makes sense.
I should say, it isn't. I mean, I guess it's sort of code. Silent 919, this is a good point. I like this. Let's do this. Silent 919, why don't you put together a dice pool for me for a test to understand what this is. Code is not exactly a good definition of it, so it's going to be tough, but let's see if you can sort of pick some bits out about it. Let's have a look.
I feel like it's like a font to me, and I'm running it through all of my systems, and just like it's spoken-ish, but either way, it just comes in to me as
Right. I like it.
All right.
I like it. All right, so tell me about this dice pool.
I'm going to go with notice.
Sure.
Oh,
Notice patterns in it, or, themes, anything that you can parse out. I like that.
Okay, so that's a D10. And Monsagene, well, Biopriest, because as a Biopriest, that's how I can understand the code.
Yes, I love that. Absolutely that.
Do you roll before me, or do I roll?
I roll before you, because they're not, in this case, even though you're doing something with another GMC, with another character, they're not actively trying to keep you from understanding them. It's just y'all don't communicate the same way. So yeah, I will roll first to set the difficulty here. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay. All right, do you want anything else in your dice pool before I roll to set your difficulty, Captain?
I'm going to take one more in Monsagene.
I think since you chose Biopriest, it's going to just limit you to that one. But is there a value maybe that you think might go along with this that you could incorporate? Maybe how's Sila's
knowledge?
That's what I was going for. Yeah, all right, love that. Oh yeah, it's a D8. That's not bad.
Love that for you.
I love that for you.
All right, let's do this.
Okay, great. All right, so that is your pool. I'm going to roll up our difficulty. And I rolled 2 hitches. Oh, you don't have any stress, do you, Sila? So unfortunately, I don't think you could. I'm going to double check and see if there's anything else that I'm forgetting that you can do with my hitches. But you don't have any stress that you can step down. The good news, though, is that since I rolled 2 hitches, the other die is my total, and it's only a 7. So you just got to beat a 7, and then we'll see what you're able to sort of figure out.
Ooh.
Oh, we are both equally terrible at this. Actually, exactly equally terrible, because you also rolled 2 hitches and also rolled a 7 on your 1 remaining die. This is incredible.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So I'm going to buy both of those from you. So you can have 2. No, I'm sorry. You get 1 plot point, and I am going to give you a D8 of corrupted stress. You get so deeply into this code because remember, a tie goes to the first person to roll, so you did not succeed this time. So you get so deep into this wildly confusing, seemingly nonsensical code that you begin to sort of, blue screen out, basically. Not that bad because you aren't taken out of the scene rather. But that sort of like loops, like, right, these loop processes in your programming just sort of start running, and it'll take some diagnostics and some hard reboots and all that kind of stuff to fix that.
Oh, really?
Oh. Now, I just want to make it clear that this did not take you out of the scene on my end. You are welcome to take yourself out if you would like, but that's not on me. Okay, so you all watch Sila 919 as she plugs in and starts. You can see almost sort of reflected in her eyes the code as it scans across the comm screen, and it just goes and goes, and there's sort of this tense moment and just nothing. And as nothing happens, you all get the gist of what the message must have said, because alerts go off and another laser has been taken offline, leaving 1 laser remaining. Another explosion, leaving 1 laser remaining at this station. Invicta, is that your cue?
Absolutely. They just gave her a virus. I don't know what they did to her.
They did that, or something like it anyway. All right, so Invicta, you want to fire on these ships, yeah?
I do.
All right, let's put together that dice pool. Now, we are remembering you all have figured out a few things about them on the fly. So while you can't really see them on your scanners or just by looking out the windows of the station, you have sort of figured out how on your scanners you can look for sort of dark spots or empty spots and aim for that. So it's going to be tough, but it'll be possible to hit them. Of course, I said it was going to be tough to understand the code, and then I rolled a 7, and then she rolled a 6. So who knows what's tough and what isn't? I don't know.
Alrighty. I'm gonna put my Hyanol knowledge to use so I can try to find a good spot. I'm gonna use no, and I may step that up a bit. And knowledge. And I'm going to add a value. I'm gonna add another D6 for Hyanol, because I'm gonna try to aim for a good spot or take out their weapons.
I'm sitting here staring at Sila's screen, wondering why none of these dice are appearing for me. I got it. I'm with you now. I'm with you now. Cool.
All right.
Oy, oy, oy. All right. So basically what's happening here is, whereas Sila was just trying to sort of decode something and wasn't being actively opposed, you obviously are now sort of in a version of a firefight with these ships. So this is a contest, which means that you are going to roll you are initiating the contest, sort of. So you are going to roll your pool first to set the difficulty for me this time.
All right. Let us hope everything goes well, y'all.
Or at least not as poorly as me and Sila just did.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Well, to your credit, You didn't roll 2 hitches in a 7. You rolled 1 hitch in a 7.
These dice are cursed.
These dice, yo. Okay.
Can we
I
we can't use plot points to get rid of those, yes?
to get rid of
A hitch?
hitches? No, unfortunately, that is
Tries.
not one of the things that you can do with your plot points. But you do get more plot points when I buy the hitches off of you, which of course I'm obviously going to do.
Oh boy.
So let's see. Yeah, nope. Okay, great. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that from you and say that this one is actually just doubt sort of starts to creep in for Invicta. So I'm going to give you a D6 of afraid stress, if I could. Doubt
Oh,
about the
boy.
situation, not about your own capabilities. We can get to that later. So 7 is the number to beat. I am now going to put together my dice pool for this ship. And what is it? It's this. So that means, oops.
Oh
2
boy.
of these, and 2 of these, and 1 of these. All right. So I have to beat a 7. Let's see how we roll. Ooh, I did beat a 7.
How
I'm
much did you
going
beat it
to-
by?
Well, right now it's saying 19, but actually I don't want that.
Oh my
I
god.
want this instead. I'm going to shift this around and I will tell you why in a moment. So my total is actually a 14. I switched some dice around, and depending on what you decide to do, I will explain why I did it later. But so we go back and forth as long as we want. So in Invicta, at this point, you can choose to give in, which basically allows you to end it here with slightly less dire consequences, but you do still lose the contest. Or you can press your luck and try and beat my 14 by continuing the rolls.
Mm.
And we do keep the same dice pools, sorry, I should say, unless you want to spend a plot point to change something up. Otherwise, we keep the same dice pools.
Okay. I'm gonna, can I confer with Ikemba and Ilay?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why not.
I turned to both of them, so I missed. What do you want to do?
It's a great question. What should we do?
I'm going to at least start getting the captain onto the pod. Possibly, Ikemba, do you have the skills to get the other laser up at the moment?
I can surely try.
And if that doesn't work, then we should just head to another station or off moon.
Well, we've got one laser and I missed. Are you trying to get one of the other lasers that's down?
Yes.
So we'll have 2 against the ship.
Would better our odds.
True. So should I shoot again and give you time? Or should I stand down and we possibly lose the 3rd laser?
I would rather we not lose all of our lasers, sir.
All right. Well, it seems like it's agreed. I'm going to get Sila 919 into the pod for the moment.
So I'm gonna fireman carry, or fire person carry Sila 919, and put them into the transport pod while Ikemba and Invicta figure something out with the lasers.
All right, so you two are off doing that. This is all happening very quickly. The 2 of you who are left, Invicta, what's the call on the challenge or the contest? I mean, challenge. That's not a thing.
I'm gonna take another shot to give Ikemba time to get that other laser back up.
All right, so same dice for your pool, and the number to beat is a 14.
Okay. Then I added a 6.
Get it in there. All right. What am I looking for here?
All right. In whatever you believe in, now is the time.
That's right.
Now is the time.
Now is the moment. This is the moment.
Ooh.
All right, but I have there is good news about this. I mean, it's not great. You didn't make it, but it could be worse. There are no hitches, and your effect die is a D10, which is good. That's going to save you some hurt. So while Sila 919 is being carried out by Ilay over to the pod in preparation for evacuation, Invicta and the ships are just trading fire back and forth. And Invicta, if you wanna narrate a little bit of this, and then I'll take over with the consequences.
So Invicta turns back. She like kind of braces herself as like, all right, it's all or nothing. That's what I trained for. And she sets her coordinates. She's looking right out at the ship, pulls the levers, and it gets real close. Like she's looking at the screen that can see out. Mm-hmm. And she sees it like almost graze the ship. Oof. As it gets very close. But close doesn't help right now. It doesn't. It
doesn't. So exactly, it shaves it, and basically you watch this ship had been it was the other ship that was primarily sort of dipping and dodging and had shot out the most recent laser. So this one wheels, circles, focuses in the direction that shot just came from, and is able to take out that third laser. Now, fortunately, since your effect die and my effect die were D10s, that's good, because it means all of it got taken out was that third laser and not part of the station as well. So at this point, you have no functional weapons at this particular moon station. Ikemba, what are you up to?
Well, like once I get to, I've been at the station, like attempting to try to make adjustments, and then as he feels the kind of floor vibrating a bit, he's like, Invicta, was that our last laser being taken down?
Yeah, it was.
The question then becomes, do I have enough time to handle this? Because if I miss, or if I'm not fast enough, will this station survive a blast with all of us in it in an attempt to get to another station?
As much as I hate to say it, probably not. And an old saying that a friend taught me is discretion is the better part of valor.
Indeed, then may we all head toward the pod and leave immediately. Right. He just breaks out into a sprint, like just
like zoom,
just floating, just gone. Like he's moving toward the pod.
As I see Ikemba coming towards the pod, I'm gonna slam the button on Silent 919's gel to get that going.
Yep.
And then as they're gonna come in, I'm gonna act like I'm a station master or a loading master, essentially. So I'm gonna direct them to get into the pods and just slam buttons, and then I'm gonna be I'll have it set up however they want to get in, and then I will set it up us to go. So that's what Ilay is prepping for.
Okay, and Ikemba already has everything ready for you because he was in here a little bit before. So
yeah,
once you've got everyone in position, you just hit that autopilot button, and it should. And are you sending this to another station on the moon?
Yes,
or
I'm sending it. I'm sending it to another station because I don't feel comfortable. Ilay doesn't feel comfortable trying to rocket our way back down, and we're in a vulnerable spot where it's just like they could just watch us go down, and like there's no safety precautions. Sila 919 last episode knew that there isn't like some sort of eject parachute.
Right.
Yeah, so we're
not as far as y'all are aware anyway.
Yeah, so we're another station is what I'm setting it up to do.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, now are you going back to the first station that y'all read, or are you just hitting one that's sort of like as far away as possible from what's going on right now?
I'm gonna go not to that one because I think that's the one that takes us directly back. So whatever is kind of like jutted off to the side, but can still take us back to the I'm thinking of that central station. So I'm just trying to like, what do you call this? It's a gamer term. I'm trying to kite them. Like I'm trying to like make sure that we can just like bounce leapfrog as a group unit and make our way around. Yeah.
Someone been playing World of Warcraft?
Yep, too much. That's why I look really tired, but all worth it. Just real high gear. That's
totally
worth
awesome.
It.
I love it. All right, yeah. So you all hop in, you get into your seats. Ikemba and Invicta, taken off, and as you all reach the pod and get in, and Ilay smacks the buttons to inject your gel. Invicta, actually, the last thing that you sort of see before the gel totally fills in your chamber to rocket you to the other side of the, well, on your way to the other side of the moon, is a large explosion. It seems that they have moved from disabling weapons to trying to eliminate the four of you, and the station explodes under the fire of these ships just as your pod heads off across the moon. Gel packs engaged. You all are temporarily immobilized as the pod moves to the next station. And Invicta, as the sort of as the it's not a sedative, but the whatever it is in the gel sort of hits you, and you begin to sort of go back to that teetery place where you're not really fully conscious for the journey. You sort of remember, you begin to think about the last time that you were really sort of majorly fired upon in an unexpected way like this. And we go back in time a bit to remember something from Invicta's past. Let's head over there. I got my NPR voice on there at the end. So you remember Invicta the last time, and you see yourself in this memory having escaped well, not really similar, but a firefight, an unexpected sort of firefight. You have escaped. You've made your way away from wherever this fight happened. It wasn't even really a fight. It was more of an ambush on you. Tell us a little bit about what is going on, what you were doing out here, what's happening now. Tell us a little bit about what we're remembering.
Invicta's thinking about what should have been a very routine mission, kind of her first one out of training wheels off, live weapons, everything else. It's supposed to be just kind of exploratory mission, helping to map out parts of Vutoa. And they came across other humans that were definitely not Musalians, that seemed very perplexed by them arriving, and that opened fire. And she had to jump into the thick of it very quickly. And it was a quick and bloody battle. Only a few of these new humans surviving, the Blade Keeper group she was with. And that's when she learned that other humans had found Vutoa.
Yeah, so it seemed. Basically, you were sent out with this group of Blade Keepers just to check out some reports of what people sort of thought were probably maybe wild animals stealing from settlements or something. There was just some strange activity, and it was totally routine, like you said, a scouting mission just to see what's up. And you all were attacked by people that looked like Musalians, but were definitely not Musalians. And you had to jump into the thick of it pretty quickly. And as you said, only a few of them survived. So in that situation, it ended up okay. So we see Invicta with her Blade Keeper companions, and just tell us about this fight. What does a squad of Blade Keepers doing what they do? What is that like? What is that experience like?
It's kind of terrifying. It's like a precision knife on legs, cutting through enemies, taking heads. And, it was her first time for real in the thick of it. And even though she trained for it, she still was kind of like hopped up on adrenaline, because we're out here exploring and finding new things. And, where did they come from? What's happening? Why are we being shot at? And then it was just like the whole pack of them wandered into the fray, and it was like everyone had the sharpest of sharp knives and blades and kind of electro blades. Everyone has like their own personalized Blade Keeper weapon.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the first time that her blade had been wetted in combat.
Yeah.
So it's terrifying, but also kind of beautiful.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, that is exactly how I imagined it. Terrifying and beautiful. And in the end, the ones that escaped, did they escape because you let them? sort of
Oh no, they didn't
spreads a word.
escape.
Oh,
They didn't escape. They were taken prisoner.
Aha. Okay, excellent. So yes, they were taken prisoner. You all march them back, and we sort of see a little transition here where it's almost like a memory within a memory. We now see Invicta at. Are we at your home, or are we at the other person in the scene's home who you know who that is?
The other person's home.
Okay, so we see Invicta in a pretty simple set of rooms. These rooms actually are within the Blade Keeper sort of compound. Some of the individuals that are sort of higher up in the Blade Keeper organizations actually stay on campus, or however we want to say that.
Yeah.
But Invicta is there, and sitting with Invicta, a pot of tea between them, is a much older but still obviously fierce and sharp Hyanol person. They have a slight graying about the muzzle, but otherwise their fur is light brown and shiny and full. Their yellow eyes are sharp as ever, and you can see underneath their very simple sort of clothing, you can see that their body is a weapon. They are honed and trained and prepped. And this is very clearly an older Hyanol, but a powerful Hyanol who is sitting there. And you, Invicta, are relaying this story to them, letting them know what happened on this mission that you were sent on and how it ended up in success. So what are the last things that you tell your mentor, who is here sitting across from you?
The last thing I tell them is that wasn't what I expected my first mission to be. I really thought it would be more orderly, more going in, keeping the peace, not being sprung upon almost from the bushes like we were being hunted like animals.
You did well. No one expects their first mission to go in any way that it goes. One cannot truly make preparations for such events. Granted, this took a turn that no one possibly could have expected, but you did well, Invicta, and I am proud of you.
Thank you, Roxana. I'm just glad I came back to be able to tell you.
As am I. How embarrassing it would have been to not return from your first mission.
Well, you know the way that some people treat me. It would not have been unexpected, and they would have probably reveled in it.
Do not dwell on them, Invicta, she says very forcefully. She has said this to you before. They mean nothing.
I know.
Worse that they are Hyanol, and see not the fallacies of their logic. But even the ones that do not follow our ways, that are not of our peoples, they matter not. Their logic is flawed. You know this.
I do.
Good.
But unlike our Musalian friends, I can't turn off my emotions so easily.
Tell me, Invicta, you have said that you are glad you returned, that you are surprised at how the mission went. But how do you feel now? Are you proud of your achievement? Are you relieved? Are you excited for more? Do you dread the next mission?
She takes a moment to think about it and takes a few sips of her tea. I feel excited, a little scared, a little worried, but overall that I've done well, that I'm doing what you trained me to do and doing it well. And I hope that I'll continue to make you proud.
Roxana you look up because something tells me that you were probably not looking them in the eye while you said this. That is, if that's a poor assumption, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as you do look up to see Roxana, they have just the most like genuine, guileless, joyful smile on their face. And they say, I think, couched as it was in a desire to please me, of all people, that was the first time that I think I have heard you say that you were proud of yourself, Invicta.
Well, stranger things have happened.
What say you to it being a day of firsts?
I trust you implicitly.
Wait here a moment. And Roxana gets up and leaves the little sitting room that you were having tea with them in. And what does they're gone a couple of minutes. What does Invicta do while she's alone in the room waiting on whatever this is that Roxana's doing?
She kind of sits there and is kind of nervously tapping her claws on the table because she's not sure what to expect. Her mentor's constantly kind of surprising her in both good and interesting ways.
Sure, definitely. Tap, 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 and eventually, after what seems like 10,000 taps, Roxana does come back in, and she doesn't seem to have anything with her. She's changed. She just stands there. They just stand there. So sorry. They just stand there in the doorway, smiling and looking at you. And finally, after a few moments, they say, so how fared your weapon on the mission? I should have asked. It was your first time employing that blade in battle, no?
Yes.
And how did you find it in practice as opposed to in actuality as opposed to in practice?
Messier than I thought. It will take a bit to get some of the nicks and scratches out.
A worthy task for any blade keeper to care for one's blade. That said, I always did find the upkeep of one's blade, while necessary, of course, an essential tenet to our order, to be cumbersome.
It can be, yes.
But it doesn't have to be, you know.
Oh.
And they reach behind them into the sheath that they have sort of always strapped to their back, which was empty before when you all were having tea, taking tea, but apparently it is empty no more. And they draw out what is familiar to us in present day, but is not at this moment owned by Invicta, a beautiful blade made of Aventera metal. You want to tell us a little bit about the blade and what, if anything, Invicta knows about it? Obviously, you, Tanya, know much more about it, but what Invicta knows at this point about this blade and what this blade looks like?
The blade at this point is still a beautiful, untarnished platinum color. The hilt is wrapped in a very dark leather. And, you know, for comparison, it would be between a wakizashi and a katana.
Oh.
And it's got the razor thin edge, and on the blade itself are runes that a Hyanol would understand, explaining a bit of history of why this is special to specifically a high and all blade keeper. And it, you know, it glints in the light of the apartment or the house. And for a moment, Invicta's just stunned because she's seen her mentor with this, faced it on occasion in practice. And she's just kind of looking at the blade and looking up at her mentor. It's like, this is your weapon. This means so much to you. I don't understand.
You, Invicta, mean so much to me. All of my charges do. I've mentored many blade keepers over the years, but you are special. This blade is special in that it is rare, precious, both to our people and to our order, but it is a tool. And my attachment to it is a master craftsman's attachment to their tool. And as with any master craftsman, when their apprentice has reached a certain level, the tools get passed on. So too with this. So too with this. And she flips it around and presents it to you, hilt first.
Invicta pauses. She can't believe that our mentor would give up this blade to such an inexperienced fighter, at least on the real battlefield. And she just looks down and is like, but why?
Because because honestly, Invicta, as trite as it may sound, you remind me very much of myself. Similar doubts, similar past, similar passion for the training and the work and the art. And I, as you well know, have had many adventures with this blade. And as we are so similar, I thought perhaps you might be able to have many adventures with it as well.
You know, I'm rarely speechless, but in this moment, all I can say is thank you. And it means more than I have words for right now, that you would entrust this to me, and I'll take good care of her.
Of that I have no doubt. Remember always that your work cannot surpass your tools alone, but they are still individually only that. Treasure this blade, but remember that it is you who wields it. Now, come. And she takes that fine leather wrapping, and they take that fine leather wrapping and they undo the end of it, and they unwrap it, and you can see underneath the unwrapped leather grip of it is more of that fine Aventera metal, and there are marks, not words, not letters, but marks. Sort of, it's the one place on the blade that really shows sort of how old this thing was, and it's always been that way. And Roxana sort of wrapped the grip so that it wouldn't deteriorate anymore, but wanted to preserve that history of the blade. So they unwrap the leather and hand the leather strap to you, because a tradition when a blade keeper gets a new sword is to wrap the hilt themselves to sort of claim that grip as their own. And so Roxana hands you the leather and says, "This blade carries no name anymore. It did once, served me well as, well, I shan't speak it now, as it is ill fortune to remember the past too closely in moments like these. But you will rename this blade. You will make it yours as surely as the rewrapping of the grip makes it yours, as surely as my giving it to you does. The blade will not be truly yours until that moment when you know its name."
Thank you. If you would do me the honor, let's sit while I rewrap the blade.
It would be my honor.
And Invicta's really just stunned, and she doesn't know. She knows what she would like to say, but she's trying to not be stoic, but give this moment the gravity it deserves, and she's trying not to like basically start blubbering at her mentor because it's so important to her.
Sure.
And she just very solemnly, takes a sip of her tea, lays the blade on the table, lays the wrap out, and then runs her hands over it a few times before starting to very solemnly rewrap the hilts.
And your mentor occasionally will sort of tactfully be distracted by something else in the room and look away when Invicta needs a moment to take a breath. But then otherwise they are very attentive. Excuse me, as you rewrap this blade, and when it is done, Roxana sort of reaches or puts their hands out as if to take the blade from you for a moment.
And I offer it hilt first.
And they stand and they walk around behind you and very solemnly place the blade in your own scabbard. And it doesn't really fit. It is a different blade, but it goes in well enough that the solemnity of the blade is now yours. You have a place for it. You have wrapped it. You have been gifted it. There is that step of naming it left, but otherwise, this little, it's not really a ritual. It wasn't planned. There isn't, I mean, the wrapping is a thing that sort of everyone does, but there's no real pomp and circumstance to this other than you both sort of felt what was necessary in the moment and did it.
I'll take good care of her, and first thing tomorrow, get a proper scabbard commission for
her. Roxana sort of smiles and they say, yes, she deserves a new scabbard for her new life. Remember everything we've discussed today, but more than anything, hold close that feeling of pride you felt, Invicta. I think that feeling, if I may, will be rare for you for a while. You are very hard on yourself, and I understand why. But hold on to that feeling of pride, Invicta. And to the blade, they say. You should hold on to that too.
I will. It will not leave me.
Until the time is right, as it was with me. Now, go. Something tells me that a successful mission will be more than enough to distract the other blade keepers from remembering that you are but a scholarly, bookish Hyanol, at least for this evening of celebration.
And beside, I can drink all of them under the table.
And besides, you can drink them all under the table. And you were right. So let's head back to the moon as we end Invicta's memory here. So as you complete, as you sort of get to the end of this memory, Invicta, and you remember what it was in that mission to be ambushed, to be taken by surprise, to be initially beaten, but you remember also going back in, the pride that you felt for not running from the situation, but, you know, tactically retreating until you could regroup and ultimately win the day. And you remember that, and that is the thought that comes to you as the pod arrives at a new station, and the gel drains from all of your seats. You are brought back to full consciousness, and you all are able to go into this new station, which again is basically, they're all basically the same, you know, sort of mass-produced buildings and stations. So you know, you have a sense of what's in here, everything that you can do with it. And as you get out of the pod and enter the station, Ilay, you immediately, you know, I think Ilay, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Ilay sort of has a habit of checking in with the stations that they are familiar with, just sort of subconsciously as you're, you know, taking in the space. And you see that there is another awaiting hail from planet side for you.
All right. I'm going to approach the console and say,
Hatharay, this is Ilay. Hatharay, this is Ilay. Come in.
Oh, yes, we have been trying to reach you. But nope, Lightbringer. Oh my god, I forgot your profession. I'm so sorry. We have been trying to reach you, Lightbringer. Your friend, the Grand Engineer, was quite concerned. We have received an obviously erroneous message here, planetside, that 3 of the asteroid lasers have been taken offline. Can you confirm that this is an error?
This is not an error. There seems to be some sort of
I knew it.
ship that's trying to attack us at the moment.
and what is Bertrand's formal name again?
Bertrand is the Grand Engineer Bertrand.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Master Steelsmith Bertrand, Grand Engineer 3rd class. There you go.
I just shortcut it by Grand Engineer, and I figured that's probably fine. Or
Yeah,
do
absolutely.
I have to say? Okay.
No, a title is all you need, as long as it's not his name, his given name.
Gotcha.
So, Grand Engineer, can you be so kind to prep your ship to come get us, or so that we can board your ship? We're doing our best with what we have up here, but it's a lot of touch and go. So the faster you can get up here, the better.
And that's what I relay over to Bertrand. Yeah.
Love it. I love it. And you can hear on the comm link that is still open, you just hear Bertrand, like, you hear rapid footfalls and trumpeting getting further and further from the relay station. Clearly, Bertrand is off and going for the Wistful Wish. And after a few moments, the station master comes back on and says, well, how very undignified. Yes, we will, of course, send the Wistful Wish to provide tactical support for you at the earliest possibility. Thank you for your information. Stay safe until we arrive.
It will be done.
And yeah, I guess we end comms right there. I'll leave the channel open.
Sure. Sure.
And I don't know what Invicta and Ikemba are doing, but I'm gonna go back to prep the pod again, because I assume that it's just gonna be like touch and go until Bertrand, Grand Engineer, gets up here. So we're just prepping all the thing. I'm getting it resituated for another tactical retreat.
Okay. How about the rest of you? Now that you're here, you all know that Ilay requested ground support and Bertrand is on his way. What are the rest of you doing in preparation for Bertrand's arrival?
I'm actually checking on Scylla because wasn't sure if Scylla was
Thank you.
was like still unconscious.
Yeah, that. Sila? 919, Captain? Captain?
Because I checked and it's in the public domain. Sila is still on a loop playing Girl from Ipanema. Really great loop poster.
Wow.
No copyright laws there.
Nice.
But she is playing
Very
her
nice.
elevator music out loud and just kind of hopefully this hitch situation is over and she's gonna open her eyes and come back to the scenario.
So yeah. So I should also mention for that. No, I lied. I'm gonna keep that. Yeah, that will happen. It will happen shortly, Miss Sila. But meantime, let me just check in real quick with Ikemba.
I'm just like kind of like I was listening in on the Silent 919 situation because wanting to make sure the captain's good, and then just like kind of just being blown away, just taking a minute to just gather after all of the madness that just happened with dodging like a asteroid and then all the ledges being taken out and just like we're at our next location and just like kind of just like taking a minute to just gather and then looking around, making sure that everybody else is good, but just kind of being out of it, but still in it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you all are here. You have a few minutes before, if Ilay's suspicion is correct, you have at least a few minutes before the other ships are able to get to your location. Even if they did spot the pod and just follow the pod, they'll be at least a minute or two behind. So you all have some time to set up. And Sila 919, the code is still sort of rattling around in there, but your malware protections have sort of kicked in, and they've essentially isolated the code in a portion of your processor that is not going to immediately impair your your basic processes. The D8 stress will still be there, but it'll only affect, in certain situations where you might need access to that part of the code that's been sort of sequestered away. But otherwise, you are perfectly fine. How's that sound for you?
Like a great opportunity with a reboot to change my face and my hair.
Oh my goodness, yes. Tell us about it.
So as Sila's rebooting her system, she also has a style system that is built into her. So you see her face like come up, like automated. You just see like this whole portion of her face come up and fold down, and then another face comes out. This one's wearing red lipstick instead of brown. And it swaps out. Her braids go back in. Remember that little toy that you had with the Play-Doh and you would press it and the hair would grow? So instead of that, her braids come off and out comes her afro. And a little section of it opens up and a cord goes into her back and just kind of like starts to like just fiddle around with some wires and tucks it all back in, and you just see the braids pull in, the fro come out, her face reconnect.
Yes.
We didn't blow up.
No.
Everyone is safe.
Yes.
Cash for gold.
What did you say?
Cash for gold.
That's what I thought you said. Yeah. So clearly, Silent 919 is still getting all of the processes back up and rebooted. I love everything about it. Sila, I do have one question for you before we move forward, which is, does the new face have the scar?
Yes, it does. All of her faces still have the same scar. She always keeps it. It's the one defining mark. She feels that she definitely earned that scar, so she always leaves it.
I love that. Okay, so we see Sila 919's new face, new hair, new catchphrase, which is apparently cash for gold. And
no, that was their malware. That was from the malware.
It could still be her new catchphrase. I love it. I love everything about it.
She's cash now.
That's it. That is obviously what the virus was. So with that moment, as we await these ships finding our 4 space adventures, we are going to take a brief little break here because while Silent 919 is a non-organic person, the rest of us are humans and need a stretch, need to rehydrate, need a bio, need libations, need whatever we need, and so do all of you. So go do that for a few minutes, stretch, get your water, take your meds, do whatever you need to do. We will be back shortly, and as always, in the meantime, enjoy some of the glorious fan art that has been sent to us and brought to our attention over the last week or so. Enjoy that. We will be back to find out what the crew does at this new moon station shortly. See you all in a moment. testing you. Welcome back, everybody. Glad to have you back. Glad you stuck around. Glad you got your bios and your hydrations and anything else you might have needed, because we are back. The crew has been attacked on the moon of Hathare. Something out there is stealing asteroids from the surface of the moon, and when the crew went to investigate, these strange spherical ships with these tendrils snaking out behind them began to fire upon the asteroid lasers on the moon, taking 2 of them out in rapid succession. Invicta attempted to grab the 3rd laser and fight back, but unfortunately the manual guidance systems on those lasers leaves a bit to be desired. So the team was forced to flee. Ilay and Ikemba had prepped the pods ahead of time. They fled to another station and have moments before these strange ships are back on their position. Everyone is preparing. Captain Silent 919 has rebooted, still has a bit of corruption, but it's parsed away for the moment. But she has rebooted into a new look. And the rest of the crew is there ready. Is there anything else that we should know about y'all four's preparation for inevitably these things are going to arrive at you before Bertrand and the Wistful Wish do? Because Ilay sent the call and Bertrand's on his way, but it'll be a bit.
Invicta's just looking for another battle station.
Yeah, it's identical in here, so you can sit back down and glory be. You actually have 3 lasers, at least for the moment, that are all operational.
Joy.
Captain Silent 919, I saw that hand. How about you?
Oh, this is an offhanded compliment that I have to make because somebody said something in the chat about the reservations with regard to the hair change. And I want to say, as many times as I've been stopped by TSA and had my hair checked, I have so many ideas for what could possibly be there because it never has actually been there. So this is really exciting. And I ask that you just trust me and know that Sila is sitting in her chair right now and she is planning and she wants to know if there's any way that she can get into the system to update help the weapon systems, strengthen them a little bit.
Oh, I love that. Also, professional role players, ladies and gentlemen, taking inspiration from every facet of real life. Love that. Yeah, absolutely. I think it'll be a test. So start thinking about a dice pool for that to see if you can give Invicta an asset. A D8 asset is what it'll be. Alternatively, Sila, if you prefer to not risk rolling hitches, you can also spend how many plot points do you have now? Because I gave you, I think, 1. So what does that put you at? 2 or more?
I'm only 2. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so you can spend those 2 plot points to create an asset for Invicta without having to roll. Basically, the way it works is, and this is true for any of you, at any point, if you all want to do something, if you want to make use of something in the scene and make it sort of narratively relevant and make it an asset for a future die roll of yours, you can spend a plot point and turn something into a D6 asset. You can just out of narrative thin air create a D6 asset for yourself. If you want someone else on your team to be able to use it, like Sila wants to do in this case, you do have to spend a second plot point to make it usable by other team members. The assets that you create in that way only last for this scene. Once we're out of this scene, obviously, I mean, in this case, that seems pretty obvious and straightforward based on what you're doing. But in general, if you spend plot points to create assets, they only last for the scene, again, unless you spend an additional plot point to make it last to the end of the session. So all that makes sense. Throwing out some new mechanics. So, Sila, would you like to try to roll to create this asset, which of course has risks, but means that the asset will be a slightly higher level, or do you just want to use plot points to create a slightly lower level but risk-free asset?
See, the way my dice are set up today, I'm going to go ahead and use 2 plot points.
Yep.
Try to help out Invicta.
I feel that. Okay, so Sila, tell us about what it looks like when you plug in and juice them lasers.
Ooh, sweet. So 1 coil starts to pull out and you just see this beautiful cylindrical shape come out the side of Sila's head, plug into the floor underneath, like where her feet are. She goes down to the floor, and it's going to connect to, she's going to find a wire in the ground, connect to the weapon system, and just kind of, you'll see like her eyes kind of fluttering, and that's just the code going around. And she is just repairing, like her hair goes through and it starts to repair the laser and the weapon system. And after she plugs into that, it snaps back.
All right, we snap back, and you can see anyone who looks out at these lasers, because they're all at least somewhat visible from this station, the 3 lasers that are assigned to this station. You can see the cores of the lasers begin to sort of brighten and light up. And Sila, you get the sense that you wouldn't want to hold this supercharge for too long, but also it seems very clear that all 4 of you are aware that you likely won't be here for too long, so probably ain't gonna matter. And so they are ramped up and ready to do a little extra damage. So Invicta, if and when you do take another shot at these ships with the lasers from this station, you can add a D6 asset to your roll, an additional D6 asset to your roll.
Okay.
From Sila's supercharging of your lasers. Ilay and Ikemba, anything we should know about here?
I think I said last time that Ilay's heading back to the pod to get things set up after the communications was handled. So still doing that, just resetting everything, making sure that the goo is going to show up for the next time if that's something I need to check. And then I'm also going to check the exit door, because if Bertrand comes in hot, then I want to make sure that we're not going to get like blocked by the door for some weird reason, like it's not going to let us through. So I'm going to look at that too. I'm just basically covering our exits.
I love it. Absolutely. Yeah. Great. We're going to have fun with that in a minute. Ikemba, anything else we should know? I know Ikemba's sort of getting settled, taking in the situation like you told us at the end of the, right before the break. Any updates? No is all right.
He's just trying to, like, at this point, he's still kind of like, he understands what's going on. He's kind of like trying to gather and be of assistance. So he's like checking any kind of like systems near him to just like make sure that there's nothing out of place, and if there's anything that he can help with, he's ready to do it.
All right. I love it. Let's go ahead and head back to the roll screen, because we've actually got a few things to take care of over there. So let's hop over. All right, so the first thing I want to start with is, once again, these ships, you can sort of feel them, right, as they approach. They're still hard to spot. Whatever sort of cloaking or stealth technology they have is still, going strong, but you can feel the vibration as the ships approach your location. So I think we'll begin with Invicta. Same sort of deal that we're doing here. Is there anything we should know about? You've got 3 lasers now, which will be helpful for you. Anything else we should know about?
Before I line up to fire, I glance over at Sila, Ikemba, and Ilay. Are we going to try talking first, or do we shoot first? Because I can do either.
Shoot first, speak your language.
All right, then.
Yeah.
I feel like they've shown us they're intending to fire upon us, so we should probably respond in kind.
Invicta shot first. Let's go.
That's right. That's right. Okay. So you'll put that dice pool together. You can add a D6 for the supercharge that Sila gave you, and you can also add a set, because you have multiple lasers that are still functional at this point. If you would like to also add a D8 for the laser itself. Or the lasers, I should say, plural, themselves, you can add that as well. Totally up to you. Again, we know, particularly with D6s, a little bit less so, but also a little true with D8s. The more dice you have, the more likely that you'll roll high, but also that's one more die that you might roll a hitch on. So it's always a balancing act.
Yeah, so I'm going to do intense and no.
Great. Yeah. Tell us about intense. I don't know that you've used that distinction yet.
Invicta's very
Since the moon.
intense. Well, yeah, since like an hour ago. Invicta's very intense. She's very purposeful. And because she's had to fight so hard for her place as a high noble blade keeper, like intense is the mode of operation when she is at war. So this is a very intense situation. People are trying to kill us. She's going to try to kill them back.
Absolutely. I love intense. All right, we got that.
she's-
No. Mhm.
Yeah, knowledge, of course, because
Of
well, she's a
course.
smarty. And you said I could do a D6 and a D8.
Sure can. D6 is from your captain, and D8
Okay.
is because you've got multiple lasers at this point.
You know what? Let's go for it.
All right.
I
going
have a
for
full
it.
dice pool.
You do. All right. And you are kicking off this contest since these ships have just moved into range. So go ahead and roll to set my difficulty. Make sure I have my pool correct. I do not. There we go.
Ooh. Oh, come on.
All right. So that is a 9 the way it stands. Do you want to do any reorganizing of those dice at all? That's the highest total you'll get, but you could move the D10 over to the effect die, which makes your total 8, but your effect die is a little bigger, which of course only matters if you win the... there's so many ways to think about it. So up to you.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it as is.
Okay, all right. So that is a 9. Gonna pull together. Let's see. You have a stress. What is it, and how big is it?
Oh God, I forgot.
It was afraid, and I think it was you just rolled 1 hit. So I think it was just a D6, right?
Yes, it was afraid, and it was a D8, I believe.
Oh, D8. Okay.
Yeah,
All
you
right,
gave
in
me a
that
D8 of
case,
afraid.
I'm gonna go ahead and use that as well. I'm gonna toss that into my pool as well.
Hopefully.
All right, let's see. Here we go. 9 is the number to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I did get a hitch. So if you would like to spend a plot point, you can buy that hitch off of me. That opportunity technically is what it's called when I do it, and step down your afraid stress automatically if you would like.
And I can use that against you.
So this would just be to lower your current afraid stress, which means that I wouldn't then in future tests be able to use that D8 against you. You would step it down to a D6, so I would only be able to add a D6 to future pools.
Let's do it.
Okay. So spend that plot point, step that afraid down. Now, my total was a 13, so I did beat you, so it's up to you. Do you want to give in here? You will fail at what you were trying to do, but you will get a plot point, and you will get to participate in the narration of how it goes. Or you can press your luck and roll against my 13 with that same dice pool as before.
What does the group think? Do we go again since we've got Captain Sila 919 on our side?
I think we should maybe. Well, it's just about a different character. I think we should probably stay. Bertrand knows where we are. Let's try and fight it out for a bit longer.
All right, Ikemba.
I support whatever the party supports.
Captain, my captain.
Click on this link to find out now. Yes, we should continue and make our plans for our escape.
All right. We're going to have to run some diagnostics on you later.
Hedging bets there. I love it.
All right. It was intense.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Knowledge. And I had a 6 and an 8.
You did. All right. 13 is
So-
the number to beat.
Whatever you believe in, now's the time to speak up.
This is exciting. We've got multiple rolls in our... Hey, there it is.
Oh, good.
That will do it. All right, so that's a 15, which means that the ball is now in my court or in those ships' court, but they are certainly not going to back down either. So
Oh boy.
they are going to push it. Let's see. I've got this and one of those and 2 of those. And now I only get to add, my dice pool does change a little bit because you step down that stress. So I only get to add a D6 instead of a D8 to this time.
Okay.
We're going to use it. So 15 is the number to beat. Off we go. Not even close. Okay. So a couple of things. I did roll another hitch. Do you have any more plot points, Invicta?
I have 1 plot point.
You got 1 left? Okay, so you can use that to continue to step down that afraid stress, sort of building up your confidence here. Step it down to a D4 if you like. Alternatively, at this point, depending on how you feel like this situation is going, if you feel like you're going to be here for a while longer, you can also spend a plot point to step up that laser asset that Scylla gave you for the rest of the scene and make it a D8 instead of a D6. Up to you. Or you
Ooh,
can just save the plot point for later and hang on to it.
I'm going to bank that plot point.
All right, I think that is reasonable. So tell us what this looks like. You, let's see, what was your effect die? Was a D8, which means, so tell us what the firefight looks like, and then I will tell you the final result of it again.
So Invicta's like, I got 3 lasers, let's do this. And she's super excited, and she like fires them off in a row. And at first volley, kind of skims it, not quite there. But then that second volley, though, she lands with each one. And you see, like, you know, like in movies when alien ships are getting attacked and you see the shield around the alien ship finally cracking.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that impact.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, the cracks happening in the shield or whatever's covering the other ship.
Yes, 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 yes. So all of that happens. And you all see... you hear this, you feel it, and you see it. Whatever Invicta has done has taken out the shields and the cloaking for this ship, and you just see way closer than they were before this spherical ship with the tendrils, and it is fast approaching y'all's station. It is clearly out of commission and crashing a little bit in your direction, but it is no longer firing on lasers, so that's good.
Well, we should go.
Yes, everyone into the transport pod. And like last time, I'm going to be the last one to get in my seat, but I'm going to get everyone situated and just hit gel buttons all day. And then get myself situated and then like punch the button to head to the central station.
To head to the central station. Absolutely. Yeah. So you all, if you are amenable, can hop in there and you all arrive. Gel goes up because again, we are pedal to the metal, as it were. You've set it to go basically atmosphere leaving speeds, but still on the moon. You all arrive back at the central station just in time. Well, actually, now, this is going to be a strange moment, but we're going to do it anyway. So I'm going to do a couple of rolls here against myself, I guess, to see what happens when you all arrive. So this is my difficulty roll, and a 12, not bad. Okay, and then this and this and this and one of these and one of these. Okay, whoa, well, that died just. And a 13, a couple of hitches, but this doesn't involve any of you all, so it's not going to go great. Okay, great. So you all arrive at this central station, the one that you first arrived at when you got to the moon, the one that leads directly back planet side. And as you all arrive there, 2 things happen sort of in rapid succession. One is that as the gel is draining and you all are coming to, again, to full faculties, you can see out of the view screen of the pod, you see perhaps the most welcome sight in the entire system, which is the view of the Wistful Wish cresting over the horizon of the moon, approaching you all. The other thing that happens, though, which you can also see out sort of the other side of the viewfinder, is that the 2 remaining alien ships have converged on your location and seem to have wisened up to what you all are doing. And so you watch as you all begin to unstrap yourselves from your chair and head to the pod bay doors. Listen to me. Head to the pod doors. You all are rocked as those two remaining ships turn their ship's weapons onto not the lasers this time, but the station itself. And they take two focused blasts from these ships' cannons. And while the station itself is not completely destroyed, the sort of airlock portion and the corridor that leads from the pod to the station is completely taken out. It is just open moon space at this point, and docking for the pod and allowing you all easy access to the station is going to be difficult. What are you all doing?
Are we in cover, like, or at least concealment? Like, can they see us actively, or once we're out of the pod, like there's a because what I'm trying to do is send the pod out without us in it. We know that Bertrand is coming, but they seem to wisen up to what we're doing, so I'm trying to like counterplay by sending the pod out without us.
I love that. So there is all of that piping on the surface of the moon, right? All of that rose gold irrigation piping. So what you could probably do is hop out of the pod and hide underneath some of that. We will, and then send the pod from there. And that would be easy enough. I don't even think that would require a test to do.
So yeah, Ilay's gonna say to the team,
I think I have an idea. Let's sneak under here really quickly.
and once everyone's gathered underneath there, I'm gonna pop back up really quickly, hit the button, and then come back where the team is.
All right. Team, any objections or anything we should know about whether or not you follow Ilay's suggestion?
I'm down with it. I just want to make sure that we're not going to get like pressurized and sucked out of what's left of the station, right?
You can, Ilay can appropriately, well, I guess in this case, depressurize the pod so that as long as you all are in your suits, not Silent 919, you'll be fine.
Okay. Because I just had the worst visual.
Yep, I appreciate you looking out. But since you mentioned it, Ilay can definitely address that. Excuse me. So out you all go, and you get there and you hit that pod, and it zooms off in the direction of some far off station that you just sort of crammed in, whatever the farthest station was. And Ilay, I think we want a contest for this.
Sure.
Not necessarily to hide, but I think we want something to trick these aliens into following the pod and not, examining what's going on here. So tell me what you're thinking for this pool.
Whew, this is a hard pool. I'm gonna go with we are all a community because it's my team members here. That we're just trying to get out, and we're also trying to help out the Hotharans. So like they depend on us, their livelihood. So I'm gonna do one of those, and then I'm gonna do survive, because fight, focus, fly, influence, and those don't really apply here. We're just trying to outwit and survive at the moment. So I'll click on that one. And then value here, I would say this is my duty, just to make sure that we're all safe. So I'm going to go with those.
Yeah, and you have very much made this your duty. Absolutely. All right. So since it is a contest, you are actively opposing these creatures, and you are instigating it. You roll first to set our first difficulty.
Oh, come on.
You asked for it.
There's a 5. I didn't roll hitches, so like
that's exactly what I was going to say. You really can't fail here. It's the nice thing about instigating a contest is that you can't fail the first time out, unless you roll all hitches and get a botch, I guess. In that case, yes, you absolutely can. Okay, so the number for them to beat is a 5 for this round. Let's roll them up. And we have an 8. So actually not that much better, but they did roll an 8. So do you want to press your luck, or do you want to give in, get a plot point, but spare yourself more dangerous damage?
I'm not gonna afford to. I feel like any more foolishness puts all of us at danger, essentially. So,
Giving in is a totally reasonable
well,
choice in a
you
contest.
say it like that.
I am using the game terms
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
Cortex manual that are a little bit inflammatory, I will admit.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not a gambling person normally,
Okay.
so I'm not.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. So you do get a plot point. And why don't you describe a little bit? So one of the ships is going to take off after the pod, but one of the other ones, or the only other one, because Invicta destroyed one of them. The other one is going to stick around, not because it knows that you're there, but just to keep an eye on things. So why don't you describe what this scene sort of looks like? Since you gave in, you do get that right.
So what happens here is I will get the pod ready to go and head out. Let's see, what do I have here? Oh man, does this sound okay. So just to like, because I feel like I messed up, right? So I'm gonna do something that I really wish I didn't do. But I'm going to, when I send the pod back out, my rucksack is gonna go with it. So they're gonna know like we're not in there.
Oh wow.
Rucksack left. I'm like, because I messed up. So like rucksack's going. I'm losing that. And
okay.
I forgot to grab it on the way out.
There you go.
The chaotic nature of what just happened.
Yep. So you all jump down. Ilay gets back in. They hit the button. The rucksack goes. You watch as Ilay sort of sees it, and they're like, or well, probably not like that. They're way more composed than I am. But off it goes. And fortunately, one of the ships does follow it, but another stays sort of hovering around. And so you all can see from underneath this piping, you can see that Bertrand and the Wistful Wish have approached, but they know the cloaking on all of these ships is now just down, and so they can Bertrand can also see this ship and doesn't want to get too close. So you can see that Bertrand has sort of started hovering in the Wistful Wish a little ways out, maybe a couple hundred meters out, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe a couple hundred meters out. So you all are going to have to go that way in order to get aboard the Wistful Wish, because Bertrand doesn't want to approach any closer.
I'm gonna go to the comms table and hail Bertrand and look at the rest of the torch team and be like, and say to Bertrand, get ready to pick us up. We're going to head this way. Pick us up in 20 seconds. And I just look at everyone like, we gotta go and like hop on this ship, like low gravity, the whole nine. Like we're running and jumping or swimming in some cases, just so we can get to a place that we know and we can fight back. That's what Ilay communicates to Bertrand, unless anyone else wants to do something different.
No, I'm good.
Get out of here.
Let's go.
All right. So you all begin to run, and it's all about, you all are trying to stay hidden, so underneath the piping, but sometimes it's all the way down low to the ground, so you sort of have to leap over it but stay low. It's a whole thing. So everybody is going to make a test. I am going to roll to set a static difficulty because the terrain isn't changing.
See y'all.
Wow.
We're keeping it simple. I am going to have to roll slightly differently because some of you have stresses. Ikemba and Ilay, do either of you have any remaining stresses? I don't think so.
No.
I thought my stress was gone last week.
Yes. Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to be sure. All right. So let me, here's what we'll do. I will roll a basic difficulty, and then I will add stress dice to that for anyone. Okay, so the total is 10. That's what you have to beat, and I'm going to roll, let's see, Invicta has still a D6 of afraid, so let me roll that to see if, Well, I rolled the same thing that I have on one of those dice. So Invicta, your number to beat is also still just a 10. Sila 919, your corrupted stress actually isn't going to apply here, so I'm not going to add that to your pool. So y'all put together some dice pools for running, navigating, leaping, getting to this ship over difficult and harsh terrain while still remaining hidden. You can put those dice pools together. If anyone wants to walk us through them, happy to hear it. But otherwise, since you're all making one, feel free to just put them together with your dice and roll at will, and we'll see who does what.
Okay.
Oh boy.
As we do, I will take, as you all are building those, I will take a moment and we will head over to the Wistful Wish, where Bertrand is just in a sweat, in the running back and forth between the engine room and the bridge. This must be how he managed to get to Torch headquarters in the first place, because he did pilot this ship by himself at some point. Also on board are, I've lost my papers, but anyway, also on board are also the station master and the Grand Minister of Agriculture, who insisted on coming along on what they seem to think is still some sort of salvageable diplomatic mission. So Bertrand is just doing his utmost to pilot this ship all on his own, with no assistance from either of those two passengers. And let's see how you all do at arriving at the ships. Anyone have a dice pool ready?
Yep.
All right. So, Ilay, let's start with you, since we just had yours. I see you've got Lightbringer, Fly, and Knowledge. I love all of that. Give us a roll. Your number to beat is something low that I don't remember.
It's not low. It's 10.
Oh, it's 10. Oh,
14.
Look at that.
We're gonna make it.
I thought you were just like,
14.
it's nothing.
You are fine there. All right, so
All right, cool.
we'll be able to get a little bit from Ilay on how their flight over the coils goes. Who's next for us?
I'll do it.
All right, Ikemba, you've got Musalian, Survive, and Knowledge in your pool.
Yup.
10 is the number to beat.
Rolled.
Mine's taking a minute to, oh, there it is. 15. Ikemba also beautifully heading over there. We'll get back to Ikemba's description in just a minute. Sila and Invicta, who wants to go next? All right,
I'm
Sila, do it. Sila's got do it right or get out of my way. I feel like there's probably a lot of getting out of my way here. Notice and exploration, and that, what's that D8 there? What's that one for?
Because I don't know how to make it go away.
Oh, can you click? If you can click it and drag it out, great. If not, we'll just disregard one of the D8s. No worries. There we go.
Ooh, fixed it. All right.
Fixed it. 10's the number to beat. 15. Y'all's is rolling gangbusters. All right, so you are out of here. No problem. Last but not least, let's check in with Invicta.
All right. I've got going on intense, no, and power because oh boy.
Makes sense to me.
And just in case we need it, I threw in my 6 for weapons.
Okay,
Look,
all right. Look, if you
you
can
know,
use it, absolutely.
Look, you never know when you got a nut. So
all right, roll that up. Let's amazing. Just gonna let that be what it is. All right, so let's roll up that pool.
Let's see what happens, because this is a high number for me to beat with all 8s in here.
10s, it is a lot of 8s. 10's the number to beat. I have faith, I believe.
Oh, not quite.
Alrighty. Okay.
And a hitch.
So in that case, I am going to buy that hitch off of you. And I am going to buy it for an injured stress. And since you failed, I'm going to step it up from a D6. So you've got an D8 of injured as you, basically you're running along. You all are running, and we see all of you leaping over, avoiding, pitfalls and trips and things like that. Unfortunately, Invicta misses one of them. It's also, I will say, the fact that the three of you are doing so well at this is impressive, because remember, this is moon gravity that y'all are just running in. That's tricky. So there is one part where there's sort of a a bit of a like ravine. Ravine is excessive. There's like a crack in the ground, right? And you all leap over one of the pipes that's sort of right before it to clear that. And Silent 919 and Ikemba and Ilay all manage to clear both the pipe and the sort of hidden crevice behind it. But Invicta doesn't quite clear it, stumbles and gets her leg caught in that crevice just momentarily, just long enough that she twists something in her ankle. She's okay, she can keep running, but it does slow things down a minute. Ikemba, you just watched your friend run and fall and like not mortally wound themselves, but like serious injury and in a very tense situation. What's going through your mind?
Nothing's going through Kemba's mind. He just like kind of like breaks, like stops himself and like bounds in her direction.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, do you need assistance? Because he knows she doesn't like to be touched. And it's just like got his hand out ready. Like if you need help, I got you. Like,
and she reaches out because she's like, you know how when you've twisted your ankle and you'll be okay in a minute, but you need that like, not sure if it's broken. So she grabs Ikemba's hand. She's like, just need a minute.
and
The
like with
clumsy
that,
one.
he's just like he's got her like she's grabbed his wrist, he's got her wrist, and he just kind of like bounds, like just like a mini Ikemba, just like kind of pushes off back toward the group. It's just that splash. It's like it's heading back toward the squad.
Yep, absolutely. And like I said, Ikemba's Invicta is hurting, but still totally capable of running and making it to the Wistful Wish. And you were there. Bertrand has that enormous cargo bay door open with the ramp so that all you have to do is, moon gravity is suddenly about to come in big ol' handy because your ups are new and improved here on the moon. So you all can leap up into the cargo bay there. And Bertrand sort of immediately begins to close the cargo bay, and you can hear him yelling from the bridge, checking in to make sure that you're all okay. And do you where do you all run? Is it battle stations? Is it back to the planet? What is battle stations?
We're on and popping. They're battle stations.
All right, I love that. Okay, so as you run to battle stations, Silent 919 heads to the captain's chair. You pass Bertrand, who's running for the engine room, and he looks like he wants to give all of you a great big hug, but this is a big situation, and also there are two other Hathorayans on board, and he's a little self-conscious. So Silent 919 heads that way. Ilay heads to comms and sensor array, and Invicta and Ikemba head to their tactical stations. Ikemba, as you arrive in your tactical station and sort of get yourself situated, there is that sort of quiet. The two gun stations are a little bit removed from the bridge, so it's quiet. It's a little quieter out where you are, and in that quiet you can't help but flash back for a moment to Invicta sort of having fallen, having injured herself. You didn't know before you asked how bad it was, whether she was going to be able to continue running to get out of there herself. And all of a sudden, in your mind's eye, Invicta there on one knee with her leg in that crevice sort of gets overlaid by another image. So let's head over to our other little setup here, and I will then ask you what you see. All right, so as you're there, you have that image of Invicta on the ground, and then all of a sudden you see another person injured, having fallen on the ground. Tell us about that person.
That person is Ikemba.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like, he's just remembering his past. He remembers being in somewhat similar of a situation in his teenage years. And it just kind of like, it brings him pause. He's just quiet.
Yeah.
In his head.
Yeah, definitely. And so he is paused and quiet, and in that way that like our brains can slow time down, we can think through, you know, whole hours of memories in mere moments. In those few minutes before space combat is joined here on the Wistful Wish, Ikemba remembers more about his teenage self, injured, lying in that crevice. But you also get memories before that moment. So we see a young Ikemba running through the forest of Musalia, of Vatoa. You're heading out of the city of Nuanual, heading out, and we watch as Ikemba arrives at his intended destination. And we see in front of him, as he steps in between two trees, we see in front of him what at first could easily be mistaken for just a particularly naturally symmetrical sort of grove in this forest. But upon any sort of closer inspection, you begin to see movement, and you see figures sort of identify themselves to you walking around out here, and they were easy to miss because many of them are green in color. Their skin and their hair is green, or some of them are sort of the bright colors of the forest flowers. You see one individual who has sort of light green skin and body, but their hair is this sort of riotous afro, very similar to Silent 919's new look, except that it is purple. Well, I guess it's lavender, because the hair is in fact the little buds and the little petals of lavender covering this person's head. There are three small little individuals that are the sort of mottled brown color of bark, and these three sort of children run around. One of them with a sort of almost an acorn top looking head of hair that is just slicked down on him, as these three little children run around. And you can see that the buildings here are built, not built, they are grown, they are created in and amongst the trees here. Large arches in the roots of enormous trees serve as shelters. Branches serve as walkways, as high up walkways. Knots in trees serve as handholds for climbing amongst the levels. So this is where we see young teenage Ikemba. And Ikemba, why don't you tell us why you're here?
The first time Ikemba stumbled upon their little village, he just was in awe of the fact that they look human, but also look like the forest. And the first time he saw it, he's just silenced with just awe and curiosity. He's a big fan of wanting to understand things, so he kind of like just he sat back, and he would come to this spot months at a time and just watch, just to see what they do. Like, are they just like us? This is sweet. This is a group of people that he hasn't had the chance to meet or hang out with, but he regularly would come and hang out in the same spot, and in the same spot in early afternoons. Like right after the sun, it's apex. It's kind of like gets into the afternoon a little bit, and he's just watching from the branches, expecting that he's not being seen. But it seemed like every day they would gather in that spot, and they were practicing the things that he would come to understand as the biopriest profession.
Yes, exactly.
So he would watch them just move their hands and create.
Yeah. You watch as that group of children, one day they're running around playing, space tag, I don't know, playing a game, and one of them falls and injures themselves, and you see they injures themselves, not like a scraped knee, like they get a good sized gash as they sort of slide down some loose shale, and you watch as they bring the child over, and they, like you said, they, just as their buildings are grown from nature around them and just subtly nudged to be in shapes that they want, so too are these Solansi individuals, for that is what they are. So too are some of these Solansi individuals able to coax the body's natural growth in certain ways, and they're able to heal that boy of his gash. You see all manner of things that are created and healed and mended and formed from these, what you eventually, as you said, come to learn are biopriest abilities as you're watching. What is Ikemba? Obviously Ikemba wants to do more than just watch them, right? So like, what is that journey at first? What, like, does he just like try and do mystic? What does that look like when Ikemba first decides to do more than watch?
For him, it was more of a moment of confusion, but also a moment of extreme, like, I gotta do that. Like, everybody has that moment of figuring out a thing. They see somebody do something like, oh no, I need to learn how to do that immediately. And with his mind, the way that it works, life is logical. It's like, this makes sense. If you could fix somebody like that, why would you not? So he just like tries to move his fingers like they moved them, and like nothing happens, but he's just like, I'm gonna figure this out. So he comes back to this point month after month and just watches them. And one day he just like has a little scratch that he got climbing the tree that he gets into, and he kind of just like you know, that moment of just like and he like looks, and he's just like, and he just kind of does some of the hand movements, and then he sees a little bit of mending, and he's just like ah! And then he didn't know how loud he was. So he was like ah! And then like he looks up, and he just sees them look at him, and he's just like
yeah. Just the whole crew, they had just completed a mending, and there are like 8 or 9, not all biopriests, but 8 or 9 Solansi that just snap their heads up in your direction.
And then he's just like, hi? And just kind of like hoping that they're not like he's seen them for a while. He knows that they're not like aggressive amongst each other, but he's very curious and hoping that they're not aggressive toward him.
Right. And they are not immediately aggressive towards you, although you can tell not all of them are super pleased that you're there. You can see that plain as day on their faces. And you watch as they sort of very quickly sort of converse to each other, with each other, and they look up and they just decide to ignore you this time around. There's no telling whether they've seen you before, but they don't invite you down, but nor do they shoo you away.
And he's just like, he figures they don't want to talk to him. So he's just like, okay. He just kind of like hops down off the tree and just starts on his way home. He's worried. He's like, they saw me. They talked, and they didn't invite me down, so maybe I've overstayed my welcome. So he just kind of like,
totally.
He heads home, but like with a little bit of aggression. He's just like, all right, I'm out. So he's just like trying to like parkour his way through the trees. He's trying to be fancy. He's just like worried that they're chasing him, but also figuring that they're not. But he's just like trying to be extra. It's like, oh, I'm gonna leap over this branch, and then like he just like
lest we forget he's a teenager.
So he's just like doing backflips and just like flipping over stuff. And he's like, I'm on the way home. Yeah. And he kind of keeps glancing over his shoulder, like, okay, they're not chasing me. Nice. And then he just gets a little bit more confident and just like starts to like, he saw a branch, he's like, sweet. And he just like pops off the branch, boosts himself high, like tries to do a nice backflip, and then like lands slightly weird. And he like kind of like lands on his side, but like kind of pushes himself a bit. And it's off his left side that he kind of like just leans and doesn't see it, but there's a crevasse on the other side of that branch. And he pushes himself right kind of into it to where he just kind of wedges himself, mistakenly, of course, but he just kind of like lands and then just like he's like trying to move and he realizes he's stuck.
Yeah. Yeah, stuck. Probably injured. Your arm, like you said, you landed on that. It's not. There's sort of that adrenaline. So, and maybe a little shock. So the full pain of whatever has happened there, which doesn't look good if Ikemba takes a moment to look at it. But that sort of full pain hasn't quite hit you yet, and in that moment that you have before it really fully hits you, what is Ikemba's last conscious thought?
He's like, I was just trying to get home. I hope everybody's okay. And then he kind of just passes out.
He just passes out. The pain catches up to him and he passes out. And we, in this memory, you then remember sort of montage style, because that's how real life memories work. We see hours pass with Ikemba sort of flitting in and out of consciousness. Nighttime comes on and he is still stuck. Eventually, you regain full consciousness, but you're stuck in there. What do you try to do to either, now that you've started to be able to figure out how the biopriests work, I don't know if it's about trying to heal yourself or trying to unstick yourself. What is Ikemba doing here in these little montages that we ultimately see that night, all through the next day, and all through even that next night and beyond? What sorts of things does Ikemba do?
Well, he kind of remembers, like he wakes up and he remembered seeing an animal back in this village that was injured. And he saw that, like he just remembered like trying the same thing he tried on himself, but like a dog, it was limping. And he was just like, you try something. And he moves his hands and it kind of unlocked something, and he kind of understood a little more about life. And in his mind is like, okay, this doesn't make sense. So he's trying to move the pieces of what he sees above the pained area. He just sees pieces. So he's like moving them and changing them, or trying to. And the dog just like, and then just looks up and then like trots a little bit. Just kind of looks at his legs, looks back up at Ikemba, and he's worried. He kind of like just bolts, but with no limp. So I'm excited. And he remembers that while pinned, and he was okay. He, in his mind, he's like, all right, I've done this before. And he kind of flashes that he's done this many times with animals around his home, but the first time he tried it on himself was in the tree watching Solansi. So he kind of looks at his arm and just trying to move a little bit, not trying to move the ground from around him. He doesn't get that same wrongness when he looks at the ground and he attempts anything. So he just figures, okay, this won't work with the ground. But he looks at his arm and he's just trying to like fix the things that look wrong in his mind. And he feels like the rock is blocking his arm's ability to close, because he looks and there's a gash in his arm, in his bicep, and he's trying to move his arm in the way that makes sense to fix it. And he moves one finger incorrectly and just the gash widens. And just immediately like, he's just like the most sharp pain immediate that he could feel. It went through it started in his arm and pulsed through his entire body, and then he just passes out again.
And so we head back into that montage. We see that the second night the second night pass, the second day pass, night begins to come on. A third night here in this crevasse begins to come on, and you have not been able to free yourself, but you do hear movement in the trees after several days. At this point, you are weak. It has rained, so you've been able to get some hydration, but you're hungry, you're weak, you are tired, you're in pain, but you do hear some movement, you do hear some movement. I don't know, it depends on whether or not Ikemba thinks that's a good thing, but you hear some movement coming in your general direction in the trees.
He doesn't care about the movement. He's hoping that it's some kind of help, and he's just, hello, please help me, please.
And as you look up and you're calling, you see cresting over the top of the crevice that you're down in, you see that same riot of lavender petals poke, and then it is followed by a face, a green-skinned face that looks down and just sort of takes you in, shakes its head, and at that point, Ikemba, you lose consciousness again. And you wake up lying in a this sort of bed. It is very obviously supposed to be a bed, but the frame of it is really just sort of a tree root outcropping. The bedding that's on there are these sort of enormously long and very, very supple, like they sort of look like almost, well, we would think of them looking as almost like palm leaves. They're just these enormous broad leaves, but they're very, very soft and supple, that's being used as the bedding. And that Solansi woman with the lavender hair is sitting beside you and sees you coming to consciousness. And she says, "Good. You have awoken."
He just kind of like rubs his head and just, I'm sorry, I hope I haven't upset anyone.
Do not move too much. No one is too upset with you, but neither have we healed you. And you can look down and see that they've sort of immobilized your arm a bit, and they've cleaned it, but they haven't done anything to it yet. And she goes on to say, for one, it is better if you are conscious during the process. And for two, you are a stranger, and we would never share our gifts unless requested. But now that you are awake, before we are discussing your trespasses here in our domain, would you like us to repair the damage that was done?
He's just kind of like blown away. Just, yes, I would love this. You said trespasses. I would like to understand more of this, and also, how can you fix it?
So many questions. That is good. But first things first, your arm needs attention. We can heal it so that there is nary a mark to remind you of this unfortunate fall. And she begins to move toward your bed and towards your arm.
No.
She stops.
I like the idea of a scar there. It's, to me, that I feel that is a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
If this makes sense to you.
It does, in fact. And again, this is good. You appreciate the lessons that you learned in life. You will learn many more, I think. I will leave Iskar, as you request. It may, in fact, require more time on my part, but for this cause, I will happily give it.
And he's listening, but also remembering what made him run in the first place. And he's like, I've been watching here for a while, and I saw that boy. Yes, I believe it was a boy. Full gash his knee, and you fixed it. I saw when you all saw me in the tree. I was excited because I'd tried that on myself, and it worked. I've been watching for months now. I'm sorry for trespassing, but
Her
it's
eyes
so
got
fascinating.
her eyes got huge when you said you tried it on yourself, and she very quickly moves over to you and begins sort of very gently touching around your arm. They've clearly given you some sort of a pain something. It hurts, but not so much. So she sort of starts, and she closes her eyes, and you see that she is beginning to do what you have watched them do so often. But to feel it yourself in full force is very, very strange. You can almost feel that she is following the muscles and the veins and the arteries, and she is experiencing this part of your body, this damaged, injured part of your body. And you can feel her just tell it in a language that can't truly be called really a language. It's not a spoken thing, but you can feel her just telling your flesh to mend itself. But there are other messages too. She is clearly probing and looking and searching, and you can feel that. And she just, her face goes from horrified to confused to just like lightly amused. And she says, "You are impressive. You are also not very good at this yet. That was incredibly dangerous, what you did without the proper training."
I've had no training. I've just been watching you all. Like that, watching you mend his knee was amazing. And I've seen you do this for months, and I've healed pets in my home. There were animals, they were injured, and it makes no sense to me. It just feels as if I could feel the rawness of the injury, and I just try to tell it to move, and I feel like I've moved it into where it should be, and I've just been amazed and very confused, but it's amazing what you can do. I just wanted to try this for myself.
You have so many words for what you experience, all of them different to the way that I perceive what it is we do. You will make quite an interesting student if you would consent to being such. But for now, lie still. This is a delicate process.
And like he's as still as can be, but he's just still kind of like hovering around student. And like the smile on his face is as big as can be. He's just overjoyed. He's just like, student. And he just kind of like lays his head back and just
I love it.
Is just overjoyed. Like he can feel like he's listening to her, watching her continue to mend him, but loving it, and just it's like Christmas morning to him. It's like, nope, it's we're good, and he's just like excited. So like he's trying to keep himself still and like not move too much, but he's also just like vibrating with excitement.
Great. And with that feeling of sort of excitement that you remember, that reminds you that life is logical, that you learned in the intervening months and years between then and now. You learned so much about life, about the way that it works, both sort of like metaphorical life, but also literally about the way life works. And you remember that enthusiasm, you remember that excitement, you remember that feeling of being able to do something that you don't really fully understand, but it turning out all right. And all of that propels you back into your tactical station on board the Wistful Wish, where we shall go back to rejoin the rest of the crew for the last few moments here, as we get these last few moments. No rolls. I saw a panicked face from our lovely producer who was like,
I too was
rolls, no
concerned.
rolls. Also, I talked through the wormhole. I didn't know that was possible. I got my sound sucked. It doesn't matter. So we are back on the Wistful Wish. Bertrand and the station master and the Grand Minister of Agriculture are all there. You all have burst in, run to your stations wherever those are. And we call up the view screen, and you can see coming at you all from the crest of the other side of the moon are these two spherical ships with the tentacles trailing behind them. There is a moment as they crest into view that the station master and the Grand Minister are both on the bridge with you all, and they just jaws open, trunks limp, ears at attention, see these things, and the station master looks completely and utterly flabbergasted. The Grand Minister of Agriculture looks terrified, and she stares at them for a moment, raises a hand to her mouth, and just says, "No," and runs for the crew quarters area of the ship, runs into a currently empty crew cabin, shuts the door. You can hear the locks engaging. And that's where we're going to leave it for this week. Thank you all so much. I know we sort of have now ended 2 weeks in a row with these mysterious ships on the horizon, but we're not on the moon anymore. Now they're on the horizon and we're on the Wistful Wish. It's different. Leave me alone. Thanks so much for hanging out, everybody. I super appreciate all of you. I have had a blast. I'm glad we got to do some more flashbacks. Those of you who have been with us all 9 weeks now probably know that next week we'll get some more flashbacks for our remaining 2 space adventures. Find out a little bit more about Silent 919 and Ilay's pasts. But for now, we leave you until next Sunday, our 10th session of 12. So just 3 sessions left this season for Into the Motherlands. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I super appreciate all of you. Let's go ahead and go around and have everyone let us know who they are, where we can find them on the interwebs, what else we can watch them doing and listen to them doing, so that you can support all of these fantastic role players in everything that we do. Same order as before, which means that we will start with you, Christina.
Hi, my name is Christina Ariel. That's spelled Krystyna Arielle. And if you spell it wrong, it's not me. But you can find me on the internet, mostly on the Twitters and the Tumblrs and the Instagrams. We're all the user. And you can also find me on Mondays on twitch.tv/CNE Games, where myself and Mr. Mark Meir, who some of you may know as Commander Shepard from Mass Effect, do a voiceover commentary game where there's a playthrough of the game Idle Champions, and we play all of the characters in the game. It's really exciting. You have to watch it. It's like watching Sports Center, but not any sports. It's blood sports, technically. And then you can watch me right after that show along with Michael over here, Mr. Michael Kritz. And we are on Rise of the Veiled Alliance, Journey to the Obsidian Spire on twitch.tv/LFM network _LFM network. You know what? It'll be on my Twitter. So just
check the Twitter.
And it's really exciting because in a couple episodes, I don't know where we're at in this little conclusion thing, I get to have a scene where I fight with myself. It's amazing.
Yes.
And you can also find me here hanging with my peeps on Into the Motherlands. So bye. Have a good week. Make good choices.
Oh, what excellent advice to sign off with. Let's keep going around. Michael.
Hey folks, Michael Sinclair II here. Yeah, excellent session. Totally good time. Yeah, you can find me at Michael Kritz on Twitter and on Instagram, a bunch of places, on Twitch as well. I am, like Christina said, I'm on the Veiled Alliance, which you can catch at LFM_network. Yeah, first part twitch.tv. And yeah, it's a phenomenal show. And then I'm also on Faithforge Academy, which is a light, bright, amazing D&D podcast. And it's just a really good time with excellent people. And that episode's dropped Friday, so just look where you find podcasts. And then I think those are the two. Yeah. Other than this. And then other than that, I am a college student. So finals are coming up, so I'm not going to be streaming, but I think during the Christmas break or the holiday break, you'll see me play lots of World of Warcraft, because that's what I've kind of been doing when I have some time.
Yeah, love it. Good way to spend the holidays. What can I say?
Yeah.
Continuing on around, DJ, what you up to these days?
Hi, I'm DeejayKnight. I like to play video games here on Twitch. You can find me at DeejayKnight in pretty much all the things: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok even. Like, I don't use it, but it's there.
It's there.
I've been spending a lot of time in Miles Morales recently, because that Spider-Man game is top tier. And I'm super excited to get more into it. In offline time, I've been playing a little bit of Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is also impressive for other reasons. Like, that game is weird, but in the awesome way. Like, it's like Saints Row, but not. Like, think of Saints Row. Like, if you've ever played Saints Row, like the first one, not like the rest of them that went to weird places. Like the first one, where it was funny and also like had serious moments. That is literally Yakuza Like a Dragon to me, and it makes me happy. And also George Takei like voiced one of the commercials that they put on the internet, which to me was like, okay, I'm now more interested. Which was funny is that I had already been playing it, so it was just like, wait a minute, they had George Takei as a part of this? Yes, please and thank you. But no, it's a good time. Spider-Man's a good time. I like video games. Thanks for listening. I'm a shout out. You're awesome for hanging out.
This has been Video Game Reviews with DJ. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. No,
wear a mask.
I love it.
Like, seriously, wear a mask. Like, don't question it. Like,
you know it.
2 layers minimum. 2 layers, 2-ply mask. Put it on when you're not in the house. Like, care about other people. Like, it's important. Like.
All right. Well, video game and life advice from DJ. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thanks for the flashback tonight. That was a blast.
I was impressed. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Can we get a round of applause for Eugenio, please? That was impressive, fam. Like, thank you. And seriously, don't be an ass. Wear a mask. Do it.
All of that. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Last but most certainly not least, our intrepid host this evening, Tanya.
Hello, I'm Tanya, Cypher Tier. You can find me here depending on what day of the week it is. I'm doing either gaming, maybe some mini painting. I don't know. One day I'll get back to the Manticore I started. And otherwise, you can catch me earlier in the day on Sunday over at twitch.tv Rivals Waterdeep, where I am GMing Season 8 of Rivals. And oh boy, jail is interesting, and not in any kind of a fun way, said any member of this cast. So let's see if they can actually get out of Revel's End. So come hang out with us. We put out a podcast, put it out on YouTube as well. Otherwise, stop by here, Cypher Tier everywhere on the internets, and say hi, be nice. And one last thing, if you are fundraising through Tiltify, December 1st through 24th, I am one of their Tiltify Santas. So if you're fundraising, tag it Clause Your Cause, and maybe one of us will stop in and help you out with your goals.
Oh, love that. Be sure and do that. Check out more information. That's hashtag Clause Your Cause. So make sure and tag that if y'all are doing some fundraising on Twitch or otherwise this season. I am Eugenio. You might know me around the internet as DM Jazzy Hands. I've been your storyteller this evening. You can follow me on Twitter and here on Twitch at DM Jazzy Hands. Busy week coming up. So tomorrow, Monday, tomorrow night, I have got at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. You can find me over on the Roll20 app Twitch channel for more space, but different space. I am a player in a game of Burn Bright over there, GM'd by Celeste Konowich from the Venture Maidens D&D podcast, if y'all are familiar. We are having a blast over there. That is a more science fantasy sort of game. So a little bit different vibe, but also a ton of fun. So that's tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays and Thursday afternoons, I stream on my channel. We play Dragon Age Inquisition. We play Baldur's Gate 3, all kinds of stuff. So y'all can catch me there. This Tuesday is 1 week that we are playing Harper's Tale, Hope and Redemption over on Mini Terrain Domain channel here on Twitch. We have a good time. 2 weeks ago in our last session, my gnome character got a corgi the size of a mastiff, who is also a like 7th level spellcaster as a mount. It's really great times. You all should come hang out. So that's on Tuesday night. Then Thursday night this week, I am over on Little Red Dot's channel playing a game of Overlight. We're doing an encore series there, so you can find me there on Thursday night. Lots of chances to catch me and all of this fantastic crew before next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, for episode 9 of Into the Motherlands. Be here and find out what happens and also get those other 2 awesome flashbacks. But for now, don't go anywhere because we are going to be raiding T-Pain, who is live right now on Twitch. So we are going to go give some Motherlands love over there to T-Pain. So hang out and raid with us. And in the meantime, please stay safe. Please stay healthy. Please wear a mask over your nose and mouth. And happy gaming, y'all.